This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Mondays are always busy with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. Our producers, Matt Pajeski and Frank Ladd. We have Cardinals shortstop Mason Wynn joining us at 12:30. I should say Gold Glover Mason Wynn. His first Gold Glove, Ranj. Congrats to him.
Well, the only question was whether or not the injuries and the games missed was going to hurt him. And we all argued, and maybe there's a little of hometown bias here, but we argued that should not have hindered his effort because he was clearly better than everybody else at that position in the National League, and they came through and gave him the rightful award.
They sure did. Pete Crow Armstrong won in center field over Victor Scott II. Reputation there. I mean, he had a fine year. There's no doubt. Vic,
he is really good defensively.
He really is. He had that one lapse in St. Louis where he forgot how many outs there were, and we all kind of laughed about it, but he's a really good one.
He deserved that, too.
Yeah, he did. Of course he did. And Vic is going to get one.
Or playing primarily every day, that'll be tough for him to get that. So he is going to have to establish himself with a bat.
Yep, no doubt. Chaim Bloom on the show yesterday said that he would pursue, this is no rotation to get themselves ready to go for 2026. I don't think there's any doubt that if you want to do this and give people the opportunity to succeed, you have to have a rotation. You have to have the foundation of that. So that's his priority, and we'll see when that all starts. I mean, the GM meetings are next week in Vegas. It's kind of when the conversations start to ramp up.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to field the team, right? No matter what happens here, they got to put some sort of team together. The question of whether or not it'll end up being a competitive team, maybe surprisingly competitive, that's yet to be answered because they got a lot to figure out here before 2026 happens. But, that's always there. There's always that possibility, though you do have a tough Cubs team that I envision will probably be more aggressive this offseason than they were last. You've got a Reds team, which is still up and coming, and we're not an easy team to face last year. You got the Brewers, who are the Brewers, and I'm done counting them out. That's over. I mean, I do it like every June, every preseason, and then we're in the middle of June, and I'm counting them out, and then look what they do at the end of the year. So, I mean, you've got three teams you have to really contend with. The Pirates, forget about them. They're just never going to try to compete, so you don't worry about them. So it is, possible that the Cardinals could end up being competitive within the division, but you cannot count on what happened this past season happening again, and that is the Mets opened the door for another wild card team to come out of the division, and it wasn't the Cardinals. So that's not going to happen again, I don't think. So whatever they do during this offseason, I don't think it's going to be a super aggressive offseason. It's still going to be a pretty prudent one, I think. They're going to have to put a team together. I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility they're competitive, but I wouldn't count on it at this point unless something dramatic happens.
Mason Wynn with us at 12:30. At 12:45, we'll be joined by Bob Ramsey. We welcome him to the Gashouse Gang crew, the Billiken Hall of Famer, longtime voice over 3 decades of the St. Louis Billikens men's basketball team. Mm-hmm. They open the season tonight at 7 o'clock against Southeast Missouri State. We'll have the game, of course, on KMOX, and we have Rammer joining us every Monday. We had to move him because Mason's going to do 12:30, so Rammer at 12:45. I went to practice yesterday. Bob was there as well. They're good. Now, how good will they be? I don't know. It all depends on health, but Josh Schertz has himself a team. They are deep. They are talented. And they are picked by many to win the Atlantic 10, and I think for good reason. He has some serious firepower right now to surround Robbie Avila, who is better conditioned, stronger, and looks like he's going to play fewer minutes because more players surrounding him. That could be a really nice team that they've put together there. Sports Illustrated had them in the top 50, just inside the top 50, ranked 47th in the country. Illinois is ranked 17th in the country. They play tonight against Jackson State and Mizzou. Good for them, going on the road to play Howard. I like when teams like that go on the road to play a mid-major. That's awesome. So all three of those are opening up tonight. Southern Illinois against McKendree. Basketball's back.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Let's
awesome.
go, baby.
And then 12:15, we're going to be joined by Amy Markscores. Now, 7 straight losses. I saw that is, look at this, scrolling on the bottom of our screen, Matt Pajeski put 7 straight in all caps. I mean, it is jarring that the Blues, who are considered to be a team to make the playoffs, have lost 7 straight games. Let me start one quick thing of positivity, and that is some news that Robert Thomas is going to play tonight. The Blues All-Star is in the lineup tonight. He's going to be centering a line that has Pavel Buchnevich and Jimmy Snuggerud. So those two will be playing with Robert Thomas, who is back. That is welcome news. He did talk to reporters just a little while ago. He did admit that it has been frustrating to sit there while this team has been losing and not be able to have him in the mix, but he is back, Ranj, and that's huge. We'll talk to Amy about that here at 12:15.
They just have to stop bleeding, man. That's what this is about. At this point, you got the game tonight. You got to find a way to win it, even if it's ugly. You just have to end it, because we talked a lot about the psychology of this, and it can become, if it's not already a thing, it can become a thing where, as a player, you start to think every night, you think about the possibilities of what's going to go wrong. Sometimes you show up to a building, if you're a good team, and you think, we're going to win tonight, no matter what happens. We'll be down 2 in the third period. We're going to win. We know we are. The other thing can also happen. The opposite of that can happen, where you're up 2 goals late, and you think, how are we going to screw this up? That can happen, and I don't want them to get to that point. And there could be a little of that creeps in, whether or not individual players want to admit it. I don't know how you couldn't think of that. I know that athletes are wired differently, where they always kind of have that confidence that things are going to go right for them because they're just supremely talented. But at some point, it has to become part of your psyche that you're aware of the way you've lost and how many games you've lost in a row, and the fact that you've lost in multiple different ways. It's not the same thing every night, right? So I want them to be very careful about getting to that point, and getting a win, getting that off their back would be very big. Hopefully, hopefully it does turn it around. But at some point, you're just going to have to find a way to win, even if it's ugly.
Yeah, the Blues have just not been good across the board, but most alarmingly defensively. They tried to upgrade on defense over the offseason, and they just have not been good. They actually made a trade today and brought back a familiar name. Callie Rosen is back with the team, a defenseman swap, as they get him and send Corey Schooneman, their defenseman from the Springfield Thunderbirds, over to the Washington Capitals. So Rosen, who's familiar with the Blues system, is back with them. That maybe is something that it's not going to fix everything, but it's just another piece of where they continue to find ways to tinker with this and try to get themselves back. But we'll talk to Amy
It's just
about
throwing
it.
stuff at the wall.
Get her thoughts about it.
You're doing everything
well.
you can.
That's coming up in just 3 minutes. So we're going to stay on a tight schedule because we have those 3 awesome guests today. Amy Markscores, Mason Wynn, Bob Ramsey, in that order. Will we have a chance to crow about our football teams winning? Yes. That'll happen at some point. Maybe. I don't know. Let's just do it now. Bears won, Hoosiers won.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
That's all we get?
That's all we get.
All right.
Because everything else is hockey, baseball, basketball, the Gashouse Gang, right after this.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-908-8646 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. What do you have to lose? Call 800-908-8646. Again, 800-908-8646.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-999-3339. That's 800-999-3339. Again, that's 800-999-3339.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner, representing Missouri's 2nd Congressional District. Congratulations to KMOX on 100 years of serving our St. Louis community.
Blues hockey, right here. We're going to be talking about it with Amy Mark, Scores with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Blues have lost 7 in a row. All right, let's start out with some positive stuff before we all, go through this whole segment all doom and gloom, because there is a lot of doom and gloom and a lot of negativity. But Robert Thomas is going to play tonight. That's a welcome sight, because somebody's got to get this thing going. And a top-line center, let's go.
Yeah, so Jim Montgomery said that after yesterday's optional skate, Robert Thomas told him he was good to go. He was ready to go. So I was a little worried with the whole idea that this was day-to-day. You're kind of holding your breath. Is it really day-to-day with Robert Thomas? If the Blues are making moves to accommodate his absence. But yes, 4 games, total 4 games that he missed. Obviously, the big hit is the injury to Jake Neighbors, who's out for 5 weeks minimum. He's being reevaluated in 5 weeks. But not only is getting Robert Thomas back a huge deal, because he's the top driver on this team. He's your best player. He's your superstar. He's the top playmaker. He's the top creator. But Jim Montgomery was at today's pregame skate, the morning skate, messing around with some power play lines. This top power play unit is something to look forward to with the Blues, because he's got flanking Robert Thomas, Jimmy Snuggerud, and Dalibor Dvorsky.
I heard Snuggerud.
That's exciting.
Fired a little pass over to Dvorsky, and he hammered it home today.
They looked good today. So if you're a fan of the Blues and you need something to hang on to, Dvorsky and Snuggerud flanking Thomas on the power play is something that you'll want to see. something dynamic. I mean, because to be honest, they'll take anything at this point. Yeah, they looked better in the past 2 games. Some things went right. But when they break down, and this is something Jim Montgomery said, Colton Parayko has said, when they break down spectacularly, where they start to let in 2 breakaways or 3 breakaways. They'll dominate in the offensive zone, then miss a pass at the blue line. You've got a breakaway, and then another, or an odd man rush. And so the grade A scoring chances have been the downfall of the Blues this year.
So if Thomas is back, does that mean they will stop bluesing?
I think so.
Okay.
I think the bleeding stops tonight.
I just want to not have to say that again.
7 in a row, right? 7 in a row that they've lost. And so that is rough. And it is, I will say this, it's insanely bad. And they've at times they've looked so bad that you find yourself just without words because they shouldn't be this bad.
So do you get the feeling, just from being there, being at morning skates, talking to people, that they are seeing this or feeling it as if it is a fluke? That, it's early season, we're going to be all right. It's just we can't believe it's happening right now, but this isn't us. Do you get it's that, or is there a little concern creeping in?
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of what you said is true, where they can't believe it's happening, but I don't think they see it as a fluke in the sense that they're concerned. They know they've lost so much ground. Not just into the Central Division, not just in the Western Conference. They're tied for last in the league. Only the Blues and the Calgary Flames have single-digit points. Yep. So it was Colton Parayko who said, when he was asked by, in the scrum post-game, asked by the media, well, you guys did some things right this game, looked a little better. Is that encouraging? He just kind of threw up his hands, and I guess so, and said he doesn't care if they get dominated and play terribly. They just need to win. He said, we have to win. The word I would use is shell-shocked. I mean, it's a pretty glum locker room right now. And to me, the team looks like a deer in headlights, that cliche. Again, shell-shocked is the word that I use because, of course, they're surprised that it's this bad. But the fact that they haven't turned it around yet, they look lost. I think they can turn it around. I'm not panicking. It is a long season. I'm worried because you can put yourself in a pretty bad spot where you're playing catch-up hockey. And if you're playing catch-up hockey in a season that is already condensed because of the Olympic break, and there's a strain on your goaltenders and the workload, and you're trying to figure out defensemen, and you're leaning on 4 defensemen instead of 6, you're kind of putting yourself in a bad spot that you're not going to be able to catch up.
Mm-hmm. They did have the break last year, the Four Nations face-off, and they did come back I think Monty had them in a mini training camp, actually, and then they busted out of the gate, and they were incredible. You just can't expect that every year. It's just, I hear this in the background sometimes, like, well, they did it in the Stanley Cup year, they did it this year, they did it that year.
Don't keep playing with this.
You can't do that. Yeah. What happened in the past is the past. It's about this team. I will say that I was at the skate on Thursday, and there was a little bit of buzz because Dvorsky was in the house, and, it was nice to see the big prospect and all that stuff. I'm not sure the same thing happens today for Calle Rosen whenever he arrives to join the team, but Rosen is a welcome addition, I would say, just to fortify the defense somehow. That has been the big issue for me, is that you just let so much happen in front of the goaltenders, and they haven't been good either.
They haven't made the extraordinary save. Yeah, you're right, Tom. They need to make that big save. I go back to, and again, it's because we're grasping at straws here because it's been so negative. Joel Hofer had a huge save on a breakaway in that last game in Columbus after the Blues once again had a breakdown that led to a breakaway. I think that was a huge confidence builder. They didn't win the game, but just to know the defense broke down, they gave up a breakaway. Joel Hofer stopped that puck. That's all you need him to do in that moment. That's what he did. With Calle Rosen, he is 31 years old. He's been with the team before. He's not an all-star, not a game changer. Maybe it's that experience that will be good to have him around. But you mentioned the defense, which has been extraordinarily porous at times. Ranj brought up the fact that when you look at the pure numbers, the numbers on defense are not that bad.
Like the shots allowed.
The shots allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, the first however many games, they never let an opponent hit 30 shots on goal. The problem is they gave up grade A scoring chances when they did break down. Let's say they only gave up 5 or 6 chances. 5 of them were... It doesn't get any better. It's setting up your goaltender to the point where he has to make an extraordinary breakaway save or a save on a 3-on-1.
So that's Amy, yes, it's the quality of chances, but does that explain away the fact you have 2 goaltenders that are at like 86 and 83% with save percentage? Because those are really low.
Some, not all. I mean, it explains some of it, but not all of it. You do need, when you look at saves made like above expected, right? Binnington has not been the best version of himself. We know Joel Hofer has not. I can't exactly explain why. Binnington was super sharp in preseason. It's almost like Hofer gave up that goal several games ago when he misplayed the puck and passed it to the Blackhawks and they scored, and it wasn't sharp. Binnington maybe was left out to dry a couple times by the defense and didn't make the save, and it seemed to be cyclical, where the mistakes the defense was making seemed to make the goaltenders less confident, if that makes sense. And then when the defense doesn't feel that the goalies are going to stop the puck, they start playing a weird brand of hockey where they're like, oh my gosh, we can't make a mistake here because our goalies aren't going to back us up. Obviously, they would never say that, and the players in the post game have gone out of their way to say this is not on Binnington and Hofer, which is important to establish. But we know Binnington can be better.
Yeah, I mean,
we know he can.
We're talking about psychology.
Yeah.
There may not be anybody on the ice whose confidence is more important than those 2 guys.
Right. And Joey Vitale talked about this last week on Offside Hockey with Gerbs and Amy, Matrix Midwest, Wednesdays, 6 p.m.
Good plug.
Thank you.
Well timed.
He said you can't let the victim mentality sneak in.
That's right.
Because the Blues, honestly, have had some really bad bounces. It's not an excuse, guys. Make sure you listen when I say they're playing terribly. But they've also had really bad bounces on top of playing poorly. And even Jim Montgomery said, we're not our execution, our effort, and so forth. But we've had some bad bounces. The thing is, the more poorly you play, every time you have a chance to clear the zone and you don't, you open up an opportunity for a bad bounce to come back and haunt you. If you clear the zone, there's no opportunity for that bad bounce to haunt you. And Joey Vitale said, you cannot let the victim mentality slip in. Once you start playing thinking that the puck's against you, that the game's against you, that everything's going to go wrong, it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yep. You can't let the victim mentality slip in.
Jordan Kyrou leads the Blues with 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists. The Oilers come in with Connor McDavid, 17 points, Leon Draisaitl, 16 points, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 13 points. That is pretty tough. They come in with some high-level players. If you want to see one of the best, if not the best, skater in the world in Connor McDavid, go see him tonight at Enterprise Center, 7:30 face-off, and watch Amy on Wednesdays on Matrix Midwest with Curbs.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Mason Wynn's going to join us next. Gold Glover. As we continue on the Gashouse Gang, we're sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. We'll be right back.
The Cardinals season may be over, but in St. Louis, sports never stop. The Chiefs are chasing another championship. Mizzou football is making noise, and the Blues are back on the ice. Every weekday at 5, Rush Hour Sports keeps you ahead of the game with news, traffic, weather, and the biggest stories in sports. Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, and Bernie Miklas. 3 trusted voices St. Louis fans count on. Rush Hour Sports, weekdays at 5 on KMOX.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett.
It makes a big difference who's actually interpreting the mammogram images that you get. We make sure that we have an expert team of breast radiologists that specialize in reading mammograms to be sure that we can get you the most accurate read possible.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Sunny and 61 degrees. The high today will be 63.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has brought cheers to their fans for decades with the best styles, cutting-edge tech, and good old family values. Get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The countdown to kickoff starts here. Friday's focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL, only on KMOX.
That one's grounded to the left side. Wynn on the backhand, off-balance throw, and he got it. What a play by Mason Wynn.
Diving play by Wynn. Looks the runner back and throws out Gurriel.
And Arise can't believe it. He makes a gesture towards Mason Wynn. What are you doing making that play?
Dropped by Mason Wynn. Strong throw. Still got it. Boy, it's good to have a cannon like that.
Yes, it is. And a player like this, Mason Wynn, joining us on the Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. What's going on, Mason? Congratulations. Your first Gold Glove, and I do believe the first of many. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank y'all for having me. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it was definitely a blessing hearing my name called last night.
I bet it was. It's great to see you up on our stream here, YouTube, X, and Facebook. If you want to catch us, the Gashouse Gang. How about this? We're going Cardinals every single day, Mason, from noon to 1 on KMOX and some other sports. I know you're a big sports fan, but I know a lot of people are excited about what you've accomplished already. Just when you look back to this past year for you personally, what did you find defensively that changed for you from one year to the next? Because you continue to improve in that area.
Yeah, I think, my first year, my rookie year, I was just kind of a little bit sped up. Definitely put the work in, day in and day out. But this year, I think it was just really the attention to detail. Being around Nato for an extra year, B-Crawl last year, I think those guys helped me out as well, improve. But, just going out there every day and working with Stubby, he never, there was never a day where he didn't want to hit ground balls, And that's kind of big for me. You know, it's kind of a superstitious thing. I believe I didn't take ground balls like 4 times before a game this year, and I made an error on 2 of those days. So, you know, maybe a little luck thing involved for me, superstition, but yeah, I mean, I think just putting in the work every single day and really taking pride in my defense day in and day out.
And this is something that you have admitted to working toward. You wanted to be a Gold Glove player, and last year errors were sort of the thing that held you back, even though you did play really well. At what point this season did you feel like you had figured it out? You had figured out the position a little bit better than maybe the year before?
I would really probably say probably halfway through the season. You know, I switched my glove this year from Wilson to Rawlings for the first time in, you know, 5, 6 years. So I was a little nervous at the beginning of the year, but you know, once I really got comfortable with it, you know, like I said, I'd probably say halfway through the season, I felt, you know, really good. I felt like I had a really good chance to, you know, make something special this season, and then, you know, I just kept that going as long as I could, um, and just, you know, like I said, really tried to lock it in on the day in and day out, you know, fundamentals, just trying to make, you know, every play I could and make it consistently.
Mason Wynn is with us on the Gashouse Gang, joining the great tradition. The Cardinals have won more gold gloves than any team in history. And, of course, joining your mentor, Ozzie Smith, as a Cardinals shortstop winning a gold glove. You wore number 1 as a kid. You wear 0 now to be close to him. What does Ozzie mean to you, Mason?
He means the world, man. You know, he definitely takes care of his guys. You know, obviously I've kind of been, you know, branded as the next, you know, wizard. Obviously got a long way to go before I get that. But, you know, he's been so supportive of me the whole way. You know, I met him a few years ago in spring training, and, you know, I hadn't made the big leagues yet, but, you know, he knew who I was, you know, really took the time out of his day to, you know, get to know me, and, you know, ended up taking me and Jay Walk out to dinner. You know, he does that every year, but, you know, just trying to getting to know him. You know, when you first meet him, you know, you don't really know what to expect. You know, obviously he had a great career, and you know, you're thinking, you know, he might be, you know, bigger than, you know, he might have a big head or whatever. But, you know, that guy's so humble. You know, he's just such a great human, you know, on and off the field. You know, obviously I got to see some highlights, but he's taught me so much off the field, you know, just how to be a good person, how to be a good teammate. And yeah, he's definitely done a lot for me.
So what's the thing you think you've learned best from him? Is it that stuff? Is it off field? Is it pregame work? Is it technique? What do you think you've taken away from him that's been the most valuable?
I would definitely say the off the field stuff. I mean, like I said, his career was so great, but you know, just the way he interacts with people and you know, communicates with fans. You know, you would think that he just made his debut, and you know, he's still trying to fight for his spot. So, you know, when I see stuff like that, he's such a great player. If he's you know, doing the little things like that for the fans, and um, you know, stuff like that, I want to do it as well. I would say on field stuff, the person who's probably helped me the most would be Cheo Jose Oquendo. You know, that was the guy I worked with in the minor leagues, and he definitely molded me into the defender I am today.
Gold Glover Mason Wynn is with us right now on the Gashouse Gang. How's that knee feeling after off-season procedures?
Knee's feeling great. You know, I had surgery, and you know, I was doing PT the next day. You know, I've been going hard on it, just trying to get back right. You know, jogged for the first time a couple days ago. That was amazing. So, you know, I can already tell it feels better than it did during the season. So, you know, I'm super excited already for next year. But yeah, I mean, just gonna keep going to PT, keep working out, trying to get it stronger, trying to get bigger and faster. So yeah, it's doing great. It's doing great right now. A lot better than it was during the season, that's for sure.
And you should be fully good to go by spring training, right?
Yeah, I should be fully good to go here in probably the next month or so. We're kind of trying to expedite it a little bit just so I can kind of get back on a normal off-season program. But yeah, I'll be good and going by spring training.
I know that was probably tough for you playing through some pain, but a part of the game, I know that I've spoken to you about this before, is one of the skills of the game is staying on the field and managing an entire season. How do you view that, Mason, as you continue to evolve as a regular big leaguer and a star in this game?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, staying on the field is one of the biggest parts of this game, and you know, that's something. You know, this last year I got put on the IL for the first time, but you know, that sucked. But we all go through some stuff. So, I would say, I said this the other day, I would say probably, by game 60, 70, there's not a single person on the field that's not hurting in some way. So, the guys know what it is. It's a grind, but, that's what we signed up for. We want to go out there and play every single day. Um, definitely some guys can deal with the pain a little bit more than others, but yeah, I mean, it's a grind. Obviously managing your body is huge, recovery is huge, day in and day out, just so you can stay on the field as much as possible.
Talking with Mason Wynn, the Gold Glover on KMOX, and we know that historically, a lot of guys who win Gold Gloves, they get the attention first because of offense. I mean, they'll make some great plays, which everybody can see, but it's also offense that helps keep them on the radar. And you've done a lot of work defensively. You've been telling us about. What offensively would you like to have happen with your game moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, just consistency. I hit a couple hot streaks last year, and then I went real cold for a while. So, I think that's going to be something. I'm working out at Cressy right here down in Florida. So, they do a lot as far as behind the scenes metrics and stuff like that, and stuff I can get better. So, I'm listening to everything they have to say, and for me, the biggest thing, power numbers dropped a little bit. Definitely got to take some more bags and just consistency overall hitting. I know what I'm capable of, and in this last year, I didn't. I definitely didn't compete to the way I know I can. So, just really paying attention this off season and taking advantage of the time I have off now to get healthy and get the body right and get us going.
Mason, as we come down the stretch here, final few moments here with Mason Wynn. We talk to Ollie Marmol a lot. He does this show once a week during the season. I talk to Hein Bloom once a Sunday every week. We talk to him and you hear the collaboration between those two and what the future of this franchise looks like. How much of that gets to the players? I know you all communicate. What is your view of how the Cardinals are trying to build this back to being the championship contender that we all know?
Oh man, that's above my pay grade. I don't know too much about what they have going on, in the front office, but yeah, I mean, I know the media. Media would love to have me around, and I would love to be around here in this organization for a while. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have a plan going. They were already working towards it towards the end of the year. I know, Mr. Bloom is a very intelligent person. So, what he did with, you look at the Red Sox, their young guys coming up. I'm pretty sure that was under Bloom. So, when you just look at kind of his pedigree and what he's done, I think it's pretty exciting to look to the future for the Cardinals.
What about that coaching staff? And Bloom had said that he was impressed with the way they were working during that final series of the season, despite the fact the team was out of contention, and that impressed him. What is it about this coaching staff that you like or that you notice most when you're seeing them work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it right with the players, it's the attention to detail. Those guys work their butts off. I would say, especially, Brownie, our hitting coach. I mean, that dude, definitely has some different views, but, that guy, you can't deny that dude works harder than anyone I've ever seen. That even might go for players too. What he does for the players, getting us prepared for the game, I think is pretty special. I feel like there's not a lot of guys that are working as hard as him. But just kind of that kind of just trickles down to everybody else too. I think everybody on that staff works hard to make sure we're in a good spot to win, and whatever their job is, they do it really well. Whether it be media, whether it be hitting coach, fielding, base running. I mean, everything that they specialize in, it seems like they really lock in on it.
All right, Mason, you mentioned earlier that you didn't take ground balls as a superstition, right? That's what
No,
you said?
I did. I did
did
take ground balls as a superstition.
What else do you have? What are your other superstitions?
Man, really, that's kind of about it. To be honest with you, especially on the hitting side, I tried everything. When you're going through a slump, you might hit a 0 for 20. I started the year spring training in the season like 4 for 70. I guarantee I tried everything in the book and nothing was working. So that's for me on the hitting side. I don't really have anything superstition. I just think you're going to go out there and compete. But yeah, defensively, felt like I had to take ground balls every day. I use the same glove every single day except for one day in Miami, and I dropped the ball. And after that, I switched back to my glove. So I would probably say just the glove and taking ground balls.
You know, a lot of fans ask, what are these players like behind the scenes? I'm here to tell you, this guy's the real deal. Class act, hard worker, and a true St. Louis Cardinal. Cares about the history, and I know how much you appreciate getting that one. You're 12 away from Ozzy. You're gonna make
close,
the climb,
on the
man.
way.
You're
on
gonna
the way
make the
there.
climb. Congratulations. Really, really happy for you, Mason. Congrats on the Gold Glove.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate y'all having me on here.
Gold Glover, Mason Wynn, with us on KMOX's Gashouse Gang. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll shift to college basketball. The voice of the Billikens, Bob Ramsey, is joining us next on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home. 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
It's the most inspiring night in sports, the Musial Awards at Stiefel Theater. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event from St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the Musial Awards celebrate those who uplift us through their extraordinary sportsmanship. Experience the remarkable moments and people that make this an event like no other. The Musial Awards, presented by Maryville University, Saturday, November 22nd. Tickets at musialawards.com.
Now that we're getting older, we've been putting more thought into maintaining our health.
We knew the water we drink every day could be filled with contaminants, so
We called Leaf Home Water Solutions.
they came to our home and did a free water test and gave us the analysis right away.
We were shocked at what we saw.
They found heavy metals like iron and copper.
Our own tap water was putting our health at risk, but Leaf Home Water Solutions made it easy to get safer water from every tap and hose. A whole home solution.
They have more than 250 product combinations and designed a system that fits our needs and budget. The installation took less than a day.
With Leaf Home Water Solutions, our water is safer and healthier. When we drink, when we cook, when we shower, even when we garden.
We feel better about our health.
Thanks to Leaf Home Water Solutions.
Schedule your free home water test today at leafhome.com/free and save 15% on all home water treatment systems. That's leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Now back for Smoke. For the lob. Dodge in time! Oh, the lob in traffic! Thames throws it down, and Mark Schmidt wants a timeout, and the crowd's on its feet.
Oh, I love it. The Billiken Hall of Famers right there. Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr. with the call last year of a Kellen Thames dunk, jam time, and the hope for a lot more of that. Bob Ramsey, the voice of the Billikens, joining us on opening day for SLU. How are you, Rammer?
Hey, gentlemen, doing great. In fact, I wanted to pass along the 1-2-3 club here at Mike Duffy's in Kirkwood. Mrs. Tom Ackerman, and sacrifices have to be made, right, Tom?
That's
but anyway,
right.
Everybody misses you, but are excited for Billiken basketball to tip off tonight.
Oh,
with
buddy.
me on radio and you on TV, we're going to have a good time.
We're going to have a great one tonight. I missed the 1-2-3. I can't do it now because of the Gashouse Gang, but I know they're having a good time there. And Rammer, this is a good basketball team. You and I were at practice yesterday. You've been watching a lot more practices than I have. How do we present this to the fans? I mean, do you manage expectations here? How do you see this team, which is really, I think, nationally getting hyped a little bit more than they are locally?
Yeah, it's really interesting because what you're going to see as a fan is something that you haven't seen ever at St. Louis U, and that is a team that is deep and have a 10-man rotation or more, maybe, basically a 10-man rotation with tons of athletes, with ridiculous wingspans. You had brought that up to me. We talked about it yesterday. Guys with freakish wingspans, very athletic, and will be able to attack on both sides of the floor, not just getting downhill and getting to the rim with the ball, but attacking and putting pressure on defensively. And I think it's a completely different look from what fans have seen really ever. And I think it's going to be very, very exciting. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, Robbie Avila last season was one of those guys that I think all of us were pretty excited about watching him do what he did at Indiana State. And it got maybe a little bit of a slow start for him, but by the end of the year, the numbers were pretty much there. And he's been named a dark horse All-American candidate, saw it in CBS Sports. What do you think of his game and what you would expect in the 25-26 season?
I was just asked that earlier today. He scored 17 points a game, and as you pointed out, by the end of the year, his numbers, kind of got to the proper levels. He started last year with two sprained ankles, and then had that weird A-10 slump from the middle of January for 3 or 4 weeks, and then he bounced back very, very strong. Well, the prevailing theory now is that Robbie will play maybe as much as 10 minutes less, 6 or 8 minutes anyway, per game than he did last year. And most of us believe that less will be more. So does he score 14 points a game? Does he score more? I don't know. But I think what having more talent around him will allow him to do is to do what I think the best part of his game is, and that's making his teammates better. He's a remarkable passer. He always finds the open man, and I think less will be more for Robbie and for the team.
The Billikens taking on Southeast Missouri State tonight at 7 o'clock, opening night. Bob Ramsey is with us, and he is on the call. And I would anticipate that you're going to see some transition, as you mentioned, a lot of moving up and down the floor. The depth, it's just amazing to see the speed in practice. I mean, last year watching this team, not that they didn't have speed, but my knee was hurting, my ankle was hurting just watching them, knowing how much they were banged up. I mean, they're so deep that they're redshirting Kalu Anya, for crying out loud. It's amazing what they've got.
It's really a remarkable situation where you see fewer redshirting around the nation than you ever had before, because a guy says, well, why would I sit out? I can go make a little money and play. Well, they found a way to Kalu, as a veteran, saw that he probably would get less playing time than he would like this year with Robbie and Paul Ochieno and a guy you're probably going to ask me about, Jax Kerr, 6'11" kid from Owasso, Oklahoma. Anyway, and less time than he would like. But Ochieno and Robbie are graduating after this year. So Kalu comes back as a veteran power forward and fits right in and would think grab a lion's share of minutes in the big forward spots. So I think it makes sense for Kalu and for the ball club.
Jax Kerr. I mean, this guy, my goodness, he's 6'11". He can handle the rock like a guard. He gets that quick step to the basket. He can shoot the three as well as anybody on this team. Now, the only drawback I see is maybe the first time an Atlantic 10 forward goes right into his chest and knocks him back a little bit. That'll be an awakening, but he is special, isn't he, Bob? Is the plan to replace Robbie with him?
After what we saw at practice yesterday, I don't know how we could have a different plan. Folks, this young man dominated. As I mentioned, he's from Owasso, Oklahoma, which apparently is an athlete factory there just north of Tulsa. You see kids in every sport playing college sports around the country. Anyway, the point is this guy's come out and is ready to play. I think going back to June, he's pretty lean, and you say, okay, this is, as a freshman, a likely redshirt candidate. But his performance over the last 5 months in practice has shown that he doesn't have to take a backseat to anybody. And, could a big bruiser in league play work him over a little? Maybe. But more likely he's going to guard threes, not three-point shooting, but small forwards, and he'll give them nightmares with his length. He's already an accomplished shot blocker, and I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I don't want to overhype and put too much pressure on him, but I really think that he's the real deal. I really believe it.
Boy, he really gets your attention, that's for sure. I can't wait for fans to see him. Can't wait to be there tonight to see the Billikens and the Red Hawks of Southeast Missouri State. We got some fans, I'm sure, from Southeast Missouri State that'll make their way up. Bob Ramsey, say hi to everybody at the 1-2-3 for me. It's great to have you on KMOX, and we can't wait to do this on a regular basis. Your Billiken Reports are going to be sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri, and we just love it. Appreciate you.
Thanks, fellas. Talk to you on all the fans tonight on KMOX.
We shall. For Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks to our producer, Matt Pajeski. Thanks to Mason Wynn, Amy Markscores, Bob Ramsey. Good show. Bernie Miklas is here tomorrow on KMOX.
12 o'clock.